The world can change in a single instant, yet no one truly feels the weight of that change until it is already upon them. In the quiet corners of academia, a man moves with purpose that almost masks his unease. J. Robert Oppenheimer, restless, haunted strides between the lines of physics and morality, a mind simultaneously luminous and fragile. His colleagues see genius. Oppenheimer himself feels the tremor of doubt, a constant whisper that the knowledge he seeks may one day consume him. The early days of the Manhattan Project unfold like a measured, almost surgical ballet. Scientists arrive with optimism, notebooks heavy with equations, eyes bright with discovery. But beneath the surface, tension coils. Here, curiosity is relentless, ambition is blinding, and the air itself seems charged with the unspoken question. What are we making, really? Oppenheimer's world is not just atoms, and theorize it is fractured loyalties and quiet contradictions. General Grove's pragmatic force pushes forward a monumental endeavor, yet Oppenheimer's mind is preoccupied with ethical shadows. He engages in debates that ripple far beyond the lab, conversations in which words carry the weight of civilization's future. Amid the controlled chaos of Los Alamos, a small, nervous smile hints at Oppenheimer's inner duality. In public, he is a composed, almost charismatic figure. In private, he wrestles with fleeting visions of the destruction he may unleash. There is a pattern to his brilliance, but also a pattern to his dread. A rhythm that few notice that drives every choice he makes. The scientists themselves are characters in this growing tension board. Fermi, Tellerol, driven by curiosity and pride, yet quietly haunted by the moral horizon. Friendships bend under pressure. Alliances form, then falter. Every calculation carries more than numbers. It carries a question no one can yet articulate aloud. Can knowledge be contained, once born? Oppenheimer's personal life is marked by the same oscillation between brilliance and fragility. The intimacy of his relationships, the unspoken longing, the strain of secrecy, they all form an undercurrent, like a river rushing silently beneath a frozen surface. Each glance, each pause, is loaded with meaning that threatens to tip into despair. And then, the first hints of the project's scale begin to surface not as explosions, but as the quiet, terrifying realization of responsibility. Los Alamos is a place where days blur, where moral certainties dissolve, and where men are forced to confront what it means to create something that might end what they know. It is a world at once inspiring and suffocating, a place where every discovery is shadowed by a question that cannot be answered. Should we do this? Oppenheimer moves through it all, an observer and a participant, balancing his scientific genius against a growing, almost unarticulated moral fear. Night falls over the desert, and with it, a creeping sense that the project is no longer about science. Alone it is about power, consequence, and the ultimate cost of human ambition. And just as the first fissures in certainty appear, just as the inevitability of the path becomes palpable, the narrative pauses, leaving a question suspended in the air. When brilliance collides with destruction, who truly bears the weight? The desert stretches endlessly, but the weight of the world presses in on Oppenheimer. By now, the equations have moved from paper to reality. The atomic bomb is no longer a theoretical abstraction. It is a pulse, waiting silently for release. Every mind in Los Alamos carries a fragment of dread, yet none fully grasps the magnitude of what is coming. The midpoint shift comes quietly, almost in a solitary moment. Oppenheimer looks beyond the lab, beyond the chatter of his colleagues, beyond the meticulous calculations, and sees, with terrible clarity, the horizon of consequence. It is not a sudden explosion of fear, but a creeping realization. The knowledge he has nurtured, the project he has championed, may define humanity itself. The first tests are more than scientific milestones. They are ethical ruptures. Watching the Trinity detonation, Oppenheimer's composed exterior cracks. The desert glows, a monstrous beauty, and for a heartbeat, the weight of creation and destruction is inseparable. His mind reels. This is triumph, yes, but also a profound rupture in the fabric of morality. The scientific thrill is entwined irrevocably with horror. And yet, life continues. In politics, in public speeches, in private conversations. The fallout, biggest not just the physical, but the emotional and psychological. Oppenheimer's brilliance now becomes a lens through which every human choice is magnified, every consequence unavoidable. He confronts questions of loyalty, secrecy, and legacy. Allies become judges. The applause of the scientific world is tempered by whispers of complicity. There is a quiet, intimate tragedy here. Oppenheimer is haunted not by external enemies, but by the reflection of his own choices. In moments of solitude, he recalls faces, cities, and futures that may never be realized. The moral calculus of his intellect cannot resolve the emotional equation. The collision of human ambition with human cost. Tella grows, and the other figures become mirrors in which Oppenheimer sees fragments of himself. Pride, fear, rationalization. The narrative tension peaks not in explosions, but in introspection, in the suffocating knowledge that some doors, once opened, cannot be closed. The camera of the mind lingers on subtle gestures. A glance held too long, a pause before a word, a trembling hand over a notebook. And then the world changes irrevocably. The bomb drops. The psychological and moral aftermath is immediate, yet imperceptible at first. Oppenheimer's inner world fractures. Pride, horror, relief, guilt, all coexisting in a delicate, unbearable balance. The genius who sought understanding has unleashed devastation, and the understanding comes too late to undo it. The final moments are reflective. We see a man confronting himself in the mirror of history, aware that knowledge and responsibility are intertwined in ways that cannot be escaped. He speaks quietly, not to an audience, but to the void, acknowledging that creation and destruction are inseparable companions in the human journey. And in this lingering silence, one truth emerges. Simple yet profound. Brilliance is never pure, and progress is never free. The world remembers Oppenheimer, not just for what he made, but for the weight he bore and for the moral questions he could not answer. In the end, the desert remains silent and eternal, a witness to human ambition, a reminder that every act of creation carries within it the shadow of consequence.